Today is the ESP Plus websites webinar. My name's Andrew. I'm going to be your trainer today. ESP Plus websites are a fantastic tool and have all the features you need to create the optimal online shopping experience for your customers. So the first step in creating and managing your ESP Plus website is going to espplus.com. And this is just the login screen up here. espplus.com. I'm going to log in. Okay, so once we are logged into ESP Plus, this brings us to our homepage. There are previous webinars. This is 104 in a 4-part series, so the fourth of 4. Today we're just going to be talking about the website features within ESP Plus. So the first step in creating or managing a website is to click on this websites icon at the top of ESP Plus. And if we click on this, it's going to bring us to our websites. Now, if you've never created a website before, there's probably not going to be anything in here. There's just going to be a button that says create a website, which we can also see up here to the top right. These are all of my websites. I have quite a few, but you will probably only have just the one you create. However, if you do have multiple, you can always search through them with this search bar, or you can sort through your websites with this sort by feature here. But let's go ahead and pretend that these don't exist today, and I'm creating a brand new website. So we're going to hit create a website in the top right corner for me here. And the first thing it's going to ask us is to give our website a name. Now, we can always change this down the road, which we'll take a look at. So don't be too afraid of picking a name here. But let's pick, let's say, Andrew's Adventure Store. And then click Choose Template, bottom right-hand corner, green button here. Now it's going to ask us to choose a template or a design for the website. So each of the templates is available in these little thumbnails here. And if we mouse over them, you'll see that we can click on Live Preview, which is going to actually open up a fully functioning live preview of that design in a separate tab. So we can look at the template, scroll through, see how it feels, see how it moves. We can actually click through the entire site. And you can do this with each of them. And once we've settled on a design that we like, we're going to go ahead and click Select Template. Also notice before we do that, that throughout this process of initially setting up the site, we can go back. So if we had just decided we wanted to change the name, we could click Site Name again and go back and update that. So let's go ahead and pick this one. I like Highlight. And now we have the ability to go to the next step, which is Upload Logo. So we're going to click on this button. So it's going to auto-assign a logo based on my account here. I can actually get rid of this. So you'll see this screen. So you'll have the ability to either drag and drop or click to open a file explorer. And it does let you know that you are allowed to use JPEGs and PNG image files for your logo. So I'm going to click this. I actually have a folder set up for this already. So I'm going to choose this image here. And there's my logo. And now the final step in the initial setup is to click Create Website. So now it's done. Very, very quick. And now it's taken us to the back end or the administrative area of the website, which is moving forward now that the site has been created. This is what it will look like anytime you log into ESP Plus and you click on websites and you select yours. You'll get this screen right here. So you'll see the store name, or sorry, the website name up top. You'll see that it currently says it is unpublished, so it is not live to the world yet. That's what published means. We have a launch date, which will populate once we actually publish the site. We have its current web address, which we can update. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. We have a kind of placeholder for our company name, which we can also update. We'll look at that shortly. And then we have the owner of the site. If you wanted to, and you had multiple people on your account, you can change ownership, essentially which user on your account is going to manage this site. And if you wanted to, you could change that by clicking on the Manage button here. Then over to the right, you have Preview and you have Publish. So Preview is going to open up a live preview of whatever state the website is currently in based on your edits in a separate tab. Publish is going to push the website live to the world. Now, you could immediately publish this site if you wanted to. And then you could start changing things, hitting publish again, and it would update the live site as you did that. Or, like we're going to do today, you can do some initial setup, some initial customization, and then publish. That's the demo that we're going to walk through today, is kind of editing it first and then publishing it. But as soon as the site is created, it is available to publish, even if you choose not to make any changes to it. Okay, so once we've gotten to this overview area, we see these tabs up top. So the website overview is the first tab. It shows a kind of snapshot of some of the different areas of the site itself. The site summary, the pages, the products, the design. We can click on these links in the top right corner here to get to different areas, but we can also use these tabs. So they are duplicates in some sense. So if we clicked on Add Pages, it would take us to the same place that if we clicked on the Pages tab. Or Edit Site Settings will take us to the same place as the Settings tab, etc. So we can navigate by kind of clicking on these little shortcuts on the overview page, or we can click on the tabs themselves. Today in the demo, we're going to be largely clicking on the tabs themselves. So as we move through the website, we're going to be accessing these different areas, taking a look at the information within each. And let's go to Settings first. So if we click on Settings, the first thing it's going to bring us to is the site details. So you have these options along the left, which we can choose from, kind of vertical menu here. We'll take a look at these others in a moment. But the site details is going to have a lot of information about our company itself. So our company name, our address, our email, our phone number, any social media links as an example. These are all things that we can get in and then display on the site. So right now, my company name is just distributor's company name here. It's a little bit of a placeholder. So I'm going to say Andrew's Adventure Store, and I'm going to click Save. And that would work the same way for any of these fields. So I can click Add the information, and then Save. Down here, you'll see that we have our sharing and security. So who's the site owner? And does the site require password protection or not? I would not advise turning on password protection unless there's some specific reason. Otherwise, visitors will have to enter a password to get into the site, just to view it. And then you have your logo and your company color information under the brand information section. So we entered the logo when we were building the site, but if we ever wanted to change it or we had updated the logo, we would just come to this settings, site details, and then brand information area. We would hit edit. We could use this little trash can icon to get rid of the current logo and then put in a new one. And always remember to hit save here. The next section in the settings is SEO and marketing. Now, SEO stands for search engine optimization. And a very broad stroke explanation is that it is the information used by search engines to determine when and how to display your website when people are searching for things. So you want to make sure that your site has the most accurate information, the most appealing information. So this is where you can edit all of that on a site level. There is SEO modification ability for each page on the site individually as well, which we'll take a look at in a bit. But this is where you would really do most of it, and this would be on the site-wide level. So you'll see over here on the right-hand side under the heading Browser Preview, this is a live preview of how the website's information will appear in a search engine, a literal visual representation of it. So whenever any of us search for something on, say, Google or Bing or whatever, you're going to get a search result similar to this layout here. So the name of the actual website, a description of the site known as the meta description, some keywords that are associated with the site, its actual web address, and something called a favicon, which is the little icon that displays in a tab in a website browser. So as an example, we're on ESP Plus right now, and if you look at the top of my web browser where my mouse is, this blue E is the favicon for ESP Plus, this little symbol in the tab of the browser. And I had GoToWebinar open in these other tabs. Their little favicon is this G icon right here. So we can assign a favicon for our site as well. It's the first option here under this SEO setting area. And I'm going to hit add, and it's going to ask us to upload an image to use for the favicon. So it does allow for ICO, JPEG, PNG, and SVG files. My suggestion here is an image that's pretty simple and pretty easy to see when it's very, very small. So I have one that I've used in the past pre-ready here. It's a very simple image. It's a little ninja face with a winking eye. This is something that even at a very, very, very small image, and you'll get the preview over here, is still pretty discernible. If you use something very complicated, like something with text or script or a very detailed image, it's going to be shrunken down so much that it probably won't be legible to the viewer. So for this image, you want to pick something very simplified, very small. Doesn't need to be a large image file either. Next, you have the site title. This is what we put in when we originally made the site. We already did this part, but if we needed to change it, this is where we would change it. So if I had decided that I wanted to change the actual title of my website down the road, I would come in here, I would hit edit, change it to whatever I wanted it to be, and then hit save. Next, you have the meta description. So this is the description of the site for search engines. This area needs to be, per search engine guidelines, 150 characters or less. They don't want a novel. They want it to be very straightforward, very summary of what the site is all about. If you can't think of anything to write, which is no harm, we do have this AI tool. So this green button with the plus symbol here that says generate description, if we click on that, our AI tool is going to pre-generate some text for you. So this is a great way to have AI do a little bit of the legwork, but it also could just be used as a base for you to edit from. So we can still come in and change this, but it gives us a kind of head start on what we're going to put in this area rather than having to write it all from scratch. Or if you're a great writer or you enjoy writing, you can write this all from scratch as well. This looks good to me, so I'm going to hit save. Next, we have site keywords. So these are keywords that are going to be associated with the website for search engines, meaning when people search for certain things, the website will hopefully appear if we have the right keywords in there. So these need to be really geared around your website or your company. You don't just want to pick, say, great products or good products. You really want them geared towards what it is you're selling or trying to sell. That way, when people search for those things, the website comes up. So for this, I'm going to say camping gear, and then I hit enter. And now that's been tagged as a keyword. You can see it in its own little bubble there. I'm going to hit promotional gear, branded outdoor gear. So we can just keep adding keywords. you do have your generate keywords button. This is just like the uh, green button on the meta description. It's going to use an AI tool to generate some keywords for you. So if you're having trouble thinking of something, you can jump in here and use that generate keywords button. So we're going to hit save. And all of this, by the way, is being shown in this live preview over to the right here. Next, we have our social media sharing image. So whenever we post something on social media, Instagram or Facebook, what have you, it's going to have this be our image for our posts. So it's essentially our little logo for social media posts. So I'm going to choose an image for this as well. And we're going to hit save. And then down at the bottom, we have our Google Analytics area, our Tag Manager, and our Google Analytics. These do require that you have a Google Analytics account already set up with Google. But if you do, you can turn these features on using these little button toggles here and input the information Google has given you for your Google Analytics account. Final area in settings is domains. So your website comes with a domain automatically, but it's always going to be something kind of randomly generated, and it's probably going to be an alphanumeric like this, so 2b00.espwebsites.com. Not very specific to us. So first and foremost, we can change that. We can hit edit, and I could say Andrew's Adventure, save it. Now my ESP assigned domain is going to be andrewsadventure.espwebsites.com. Any domain generated within our system is always going to be whatever you input .espwebsites.com. But it's very common that people have other domains that they want to use. So maybe it's I also have via a domain host andrewsadventure.com or andrewsadventure.net or andrewscampinggear.com. These are all known as custom domains, and you purchase them through third-party domain hosts like NetServers, GoDaddy, Bluehost. These are all domains that you get on your own, and then you have them pointed at this website. So to do that, we would hit this Add Custom Domain button, and then this gives us some instruction for how we would change the information at our domain host, what IP address to put in, and what value we need to change. Once all of that's done, we would type in our custom domain here. We would hit Verify Domain, and then save. And you can have 2 custom domains per website. Okay, next area that I want to take a look at here, next tab. Unless there are any questions on the settings? Okay, so next area I want to take a look at is site design. So this allows you to look at those templates again over on the left, and you have a live preview of the current site on the right. So we're beginning to build our site out. You can see that the logo I put in there as an example is now part of the preview. If we wanted to change our template at any time, we would come to this design area. We have the same live preview ability, just like when we were setting up the site, and we have the same select template button. If we hit that, it'll change our template over to whichever we selected. And beneath that, we also have the color palette. So the color palette refers to all the different accent colors that are part of this website. So if you look at my palette right now, it is this sort of blue, this purplish, this black, and this yellow. And all of these are different accents, are part of the design. So the blue is going to be text like this, the actual action button here between the pictures. The black or the dark gray is obviously all of these menu accents here. The yellow is the text on these menu accents. We can customize all of that. So if we click into any of those colors, let's say we didn't like the yellow text, we could click into this And there's a few ways we can change the color. We can literally drag a kind of color matrix here and pick a different color. Use the slider to go between shades, and then use this to go between different saturations. But it also allows you to put in specific color codes. So if you knew the hex code for the color, or you knew the RGB, the red, green, blue value for the specific color you wanted to use, or the HSL, the hue, saturation, lightness. If you have any of those values for a specific color, you can click between them here and input them rather than kind of manually drag and look for a color. But you can do that too. So I could say I want these all to be, a sort of orange here. And I don't like these gray menu items, these accents, doesn't go with my brand. So I'm going to change these to like a blue, although that's a little harsh on the eye as well. There we go. Now, if we wanted to, we could change this back. If we hit reset to default palette, it would just reset the colors to the original default colors for this template. So if we had done a bunch of stuff, we kind of messed it up, we wanted to start over again, we can hit reset to default palette here. There is an area for customized CSS on this design page as well. This is a little bit more advanced. I wouldn't worry too much about this area. If you wind up needing to customize some style sheets on the site, I would reach out to my team before you get involved with anything like this. But it is an option there. Okay. Design is a very straightforward area. So I'm actually going to scroll back up. We did change the text and some of the menu accents, so I'm going to hit save up top here and say yes. So far we have not hit publish site. So this is all being done, this is all being edited, but it's not live to the world yet until we hit publish. So for now, this is all just saved editing that we could look at with preview, but it's not out there in the world yet. So next is Pages. So Pages has a few options that you can choose from along the left here. The first thing I want to look at is the kind of layout of how these pages are displayed. So right now we have 3 different pages on the website: Home, About Us, and Contact. Each one is represented by one of these rows. You have the name of the page. You have this page enabled toggle. And what this means is rather than deleting a page outright, you could turn it off so that it's no longer visible. Blue with a check mark means that it is on and visible. Gray means it is not. It has a last updated, so this is the last time that anyone ever worked on this page. And then you have this 3-dot icon on the right. And if we click that, we can select edit to edit a specific page, or we can delete it. So as I mentioned previously, you can turn a page off instead of deleting it. If you really want to delete a page, you can, but if it's a question of, well, maybe this is an event page or it's related to a time of year, it may make more sense to turn it off than delete it outright, because if you delete it, you will have to remake it at a later date if you ever wanted to use it again. Whereas if you just disabled it, you could just enable it again and not have to rebuild it. So let's take a look at actually creating a custom page here. So I'm going to click on Add Custom Page. It's going to ask me for a page name. So I'm going to say Camping Gear. And it's going to auto-assign a page slug. So a slug is the URL address for that page. So if we're looking at ESP Plus as an example, we are on ESP Plus /websites /pages /my pages. This is the slug. You can customize the slug to whatever you want, but if you don't customize it, it's always going to auto-assign it as a version of the page name that you came up with. So my page name is Camping Gear, my slug is Camping-Gear. Now I'm going to click Add Page, and it's going to say, success, your page has been added, and here it is. It's now inside my pages. It's not active yet, but let's go ahead and click on that 3-dot icon and edit it. So this is really where a lot of the activity in the ESP Plus website's admin takes place. This is most of the kind of flexibility you have is in creating and editing these pages. So over to the right, you have a preview of the page as it is right now. There's nothing on it. It's just the top nav and the bottom nav. You also have on the left the elements area. So each piece of the page is an element. So if I click on add element, it's going to ask me what type of element do I want to add. And we have 6 selections here. We have banners, carousel, contact form, embed link, text box, or tile. I'm going to add all of these, and we can look at how each of them work. It does not matter which order I add them in because we can always rearrange the order of them on the page. So it doesn't matter which ones I click first, and I'm going to add one of each. Now, we can add more than one of each. If you wanted to have multiple tile sections of the page as an example, you can do that. But for today's lesson, we're just going to do one of each. So I'm going to say banner, add element carousel, add element text box, add element tile, add element contact form, and add element embed link. And you'll notice that they all showed up along the left-hand side here. So each of them has right away a delete element button. So if we wanted to get rid of them for any reason, take them off the page, we can. And then they have this down arrow to expand and open it. So let's do banner first. So if we hit this down arrow, we're going to open up this banner element. It's going to ask us to choose an image, and it's going to let us know that it has to be under 1 megabyte, and it has to be a JPEG or a PNG. So I'm going to go to my folder. I'm going to pick an image here. Give it a second to load in. And now I have my image on the page. So right away, I get a preview over to the right of what it actually looks like live on the page. Next, we have the alt text field. So this refers to alt text. And alt text is if someone is using a screen reader, let's say, because they have a visual impairment, the screen reader will read off a description of the image for someone who may have trouble seeing it. And this is considered best practice by search engines. So it is a good tactic to enter some alt text. And it's just a description of the image. So I'm going to say forest, treetops, covered in mist. Next we have header. So the header, you'll see how that looks in a second. It's easier to show than explain. So I'm going to say adventure gear. So as we type something in the header, it's going to appear in this large overlay box on the banner. And then body text is going to show up beneath that. So I could say, start your adventure today. So header is the larger text, body text is going to show up under it, smaller, less bolded. We can add a button, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to hit add button, and we're going to decide where is this button going to go. So how is it going to navigate when someone clicks on it? Is it going to send them to an existing site page, or is it going to send them to a new page or a different website entirely? And we can choose to have it open in a new tab or not. So if I click in the search for site page where it's asking me where does it go, it does give me the option to choose from all the pages that I presently have. And if I want to add a new page or a new collection page that I want this button to go to, I can actually do that straight from here. And it's going to open up that page, have me create it right away. So let's just do that really fast. I'm going to add a new collection page. And there is another way to do this, which we'll look at in a moment. But it's going to ask me to choose from a collection, a product collection. So keep in mind, this does require that you have existing product collections. When you create these product collection pages on the site, you can't create one without creating a product collection in ESP Plus first. That is covered in the ESP 101 webinar. You have to have something in there for it. Otherwise, it can't just create a collection and the page. So it's going to ask you to choose from an existing collection. And in this case, I'm going to choose this test collection. It's going to ask me what I want the page name to be. And I'm going to say Adventure Collection. It's going to give me that. Oh, you can add an external URL for this button. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and hit Add Page. So now it's going to go to this Adventure Collection page. If we wanted it to go to an external URL, like you had just asked, we would check this box instead under Button Destination. We would check Send Users to a New Page or Website, and we would just copy-paste that external URL in here. So I could type as an example, ESP Plus site, and now when they do this, it's going to send them to this page. So just send users to a new page or website, copy, paste the address in there. It's also going to allow you to indicate when they go to that other website, do you want them to just load it in the tab they're currently on, or do you want their browser to open a new tab? And then we give the button a name. So I'm going to do the very classic click here, but we can name it whatever we want. This banner overlay is available in a light or dark background. So right now it is a dark background, but we can change it to light if we wanted to. And we can change the alignment as well. So right now it's all the way left aligned on this banner image. We can do center or right. I like it in the center. And now over in the top right here, we have save changes. So always remember before moving on to the next element to save your changes. We can add up to 3 banner images in one banner element. So if we wanted to add another image, we would just hit add another banner. They will scroll between the images. They'll have little slider buttons that are added. If you want more than 3 of these banner style images on a page, you would need to add another banner element to the page, if that makes sense. So 3 images per element, but you can add multiple elements. I'm going to hit Save Changes. Okay, so now our banner is completed. Next we have Carousel. So Carousel is going to take a product collection and actually show thumbnail images of it that they can rotate through. Easier to see than explain. So I'm going to search for a collection. I'm going to say Add New Collection Page, which asks me to pull information from the collections that I've made in ESP Plus. In this case, I'm going to say my Yeti mug collections. When I do this, it's going to create this carousel element on the home page, but it's also going to automatically create this collection page because there's going to be an option for them to click on the collection itself. So we do need to have a page name, which we've just done. So let's just make it Yeti Travel Mugs. And we're going to hit Add Page. And there it is. So now we've created another collection page, but we've also made a carousel of all the products in that collection to be displayed on this page. So they can scroll through, they can click on each image to go to that product, or they can say View Collection to go to that actual product collection page. And this is just one carousel. You could have multiple per page. So if you wanted multiple rows of these carousels to scroll through, you would just add multiple carousel elements. So we're going to give this a name. I'm going to say Yeti Mugs. That appears above the actual carousel at the top. And then the button name. So right now it's just going to be View Yeti Mugs. But we could change that to wherever we want. We could say Drink Up. And when they click on that, view our collection. So it's very, very modifiable. You can have it say whatever you want to actually take them to the collection page. You can title it whatever you want. And you can have multiple of these per page. Carousels are very attractive on website pages visually. So let's close this. But before we do, let's make sure we save our changes. There we go. Next is a text box. So text box is really, really straightforward. It allows you to add images and text to a section of the page. It looks just like a word processor tooltip. So you have your typical choose your font, choose your, stylization, bold, italicized, underlined. You can just strike through. Choose your text color, your alignment. You can put links in here. You can put images in here. Uh, I'm going to add some text just so you can see how it appears on the page. Our company has been helping people find their adventure since 1987. Okay, so we can just keep typing. We could add images. Text box, really good for like an employee about us page. You can add an image and a little biography. Any area where you're going to need large form text. So paragraphs explaining your company, your mission statement, anything like that, you're going to be using this text box element. I'm going to save my changes. Tile. This is similar initially to a banner image, uh, but it's much more stylized, and they're really meant to be sort of buttons to different areas of the page. So it's going to start with first tile, and I can choose an image. It's going to give me the allowed image types, and I'm going to choose this one. And you'll see it goes on the page not quite full width with one. So a banner image is completely full width. A tile is not. It also formats based on how many tiles we add, which is easier to show than explain. So we'll see that in a moment. But we're going to add the alt text, just like we did with the banner image, any image on the page. So we're going to say couple sitting in front of tent while camping. Now we can add a header to this. So I could say camping gear. And just like with the buttons that we saw earlier, because this whole thing really is a button, we're going to decide where does this go when they click on it. So is it sending them to an existing page, or is it sending them to a new page or a new website? And just like with the button you saw previously, you could send them to an entirely different website with a tile. So I'm going to send them to a page on the site. I'm going to do another add new collection page because I have a collection in mind that I want them to see. So I'm going to say, I'm actually going to camp. Let's go to my power banks actually. So some charging for your camping gear. I'm going to search. I found that collection that I made already within ESP Plus. I'm selecting it now. And I'm going to change the name of the page because my original collection name is Power Banks, but I want this to be a little more general for my website. So now the page is just going to be Camping 2024. I hit Add Page, and now when they click on this, it's going to take them to that new page. So we've, just like we did with the carousel, just like we did with the button on the banner, we're actually creating pages as we edit this one. We're creating product collection pages as we edit this page. Now, if we add another tile, because tiles are meant to sort of take up an area with multiple of them, what's going to happen is it's going to automatically format the page. So you'll see what I mean here. So now that I've added a second tile, it automatically resized the two of them to half of the page each. And if we say add another tile, let's add a third one. Now it's 1/3 of the page each. So these tiles will continue to resize on the page based on how you add them or how many you've added. So 3 is 1/3 each. If you add more, it'll keep formatting up to the 4th, where you'll be able to slide back and forth. So 3 is going to display without sliders. 4, you'll now get a slider element on either side of the page that allows you to sort between them. And each of them can be set up to do different things. So I could say this little cool guy icon here, I could say Ninja Mask cartoon icon is the alt text. The header could be kids gear. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a new collection page. I'm going to search for a collection. I'm going to say kids gear and hit add page. So now this tile will go to my newly created kids gear collection page. And then this tile is a logo with an A, gold leaf, and a crown. And for this one, I'm going to say about us, or about our team. Let's say that. And this time, instead of creating a new page, I'm going to select an existing one. I'm going to send them straight to our About Us page. So now we have these 3 tile buttons here. This one goes to a camping gear collection, this goes to a kids gear, and this goes to our existing About Us page. So for this one, we chose a page we had already. And for these 2, we actually created new collection pages straight from here to send them to. So we're going to hit Save Changes. We could have multiple tile elements on the page, so if we wanted more tiles below this, we would just add another tile element. Contact form. So this is going to have your standard contact us, email, subject, message, sort of generating an email to you. You can change this though. You can say, we'd love to hear from you. And the body text could be, reach out to us via email today. And then the button name can be email us. So now we have something that's a little bit more customized looking than your standard contact us. So this can be totally customized. It's always going to generate the same contact us email, but you can really customize what it looks like from this contact us element. Go ahead and save that. And then the final element on the page is the embed link. This is really, really straightforward. If you want to embed a YouTube video or Instagram post, Twitter post, Pinterest, TikTok, Vimeo, you would just get the embed link for that, copy paste it in here, and hit insert. So if you have YouTube videos that you'd like to put on a page as an example that maybe you and your team made about the company, you want to put it on your homepage or your About Us page, just add one of these embed link elements and copy paste that embed right in there from YouTube. So now we have our custom page that we've made. We have our banner, carousel, our tiles, our contact page, our embed. If we wanted to change how these move or where they're positioned on the page, so let's say we want that text right under the banner, as you mouse over these elements, you have a 4-way directional cursor that will appear, like you see right here. And if you hold left click down and drag it up or down, it will just change its position on the page. And you'll see that reflected in the live preview over on the right. So as I mentioned initially, it doesn't really matter what order you add them in. You can always drag and drop them however you want. We'll go ahead and hit Save Changes on that as well. You do have an SEO tab for each page, including the custom pages that you create. This is different than the SEO that you see within the settings area because it's specifically for this page versus the entire website, which is what we saw initially in the settings area. Similar content, though, you can change the page title, its slug, its meta description, and its media and schema markup. So if you really wanted to get into the very specific SEO elements of each page, you can. You will find them under this SEO tab. So we've made our custom page. Let's go back to Manage Pages. So now when we're back in Manage Pages, you'll see all of the okay, I have a question here from Zoe. I can't access the website through ESP Plus, but I can log in from admin.espwebsite.com. So that covers a different style of website, Zoe. That's our ESP Web website platform. That is a older website design platform. It's not managed from ESP Plus. Today's webinar is just about ESP Plus websites. If you want to learn more about how to change your ESP Web website, you would need to reach out to our support team, and they can give you some resources. It's not going to be covered in today's webinar. So you would reach out to us at support@asicentral.com, and I'll put that in the chat for you as well. Give me 1 second. And I'm also going to put our phone number in there for you. Okay, I just threw that in the chat. So yeah, if you have questions about how to handle that, I would reach out to either that phone number or that email, and they'll have some resources about the older style of website design. Okay, so if we're looking back at the My Pages area, you'll notice that we now have all the product collection pages that we've made as well. So as we were creating that custom page, adding the elements, and actually creating those custom collection pages to be linked to from different buttons and things like that, they are now part of our website pages. So they're all here now, and they're all indicated with this marker here that says product collection. So that's how we know it's specifically that it's a product collection page. Oh, and Gracie, I just saw your other questions here. Is carousel name required, and how many tiles can we add? Carousel name is not required, and you can add up to 4 tiles per tile element, and then as many tile elements on the page as you want. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Sorry about that, Gracie. Kind of got lost in the chat there. Okay, so now we have all of our pages on the site. We're actually going to make sure that our camping gear page is enabled here. So I'm just going to toggle that to blue. So now we have our actual custom page that we just made is turned on. And now all these pages are active on the site. So one thing I wanted to look at is if we go to, say, one of these product collection pages that we made, like this adventure collection page, and we hit edit, it's only going to allow us to edit the page name and the slug because the page is based on the collection itself. So if we want to edit the products in that collection and we were to hit this 3-dot icon and then view collection, it's actually going to take us to our product collections page. So we are no longer in the website's editing area. Just something to consider. So this will edit the products that are on that page in that collection, but it's going to take us out of that website editing. So if we click on websites again, and we go back to my Andrew's Adventure Store. So you would just have to go back, essentially. So if you're in the Pages area and you're working with View Collection, it's actually going to take you out of the website editor, and it's going to take you to the product collection area. We can add a product collection page straight from here as well. So if instead of clicking on Add Custom Page, we click on Add Product Collection Page, and this is going to be the same exact method and setup that you saw when I was creating them for the links on our custom page. So it would have us choose from an existing collection, and we can search for one or select it from the recent ones in the drop-down. It would ask us to give the collection a name, just like we saw previously, and it would ask us if we want to modify the slug, which would be based on the name. So We saw this a few times in the custom page area, but it doesn't require that you're building a custom page and setting up a link or something to create one of these product collection pages. You can create them straight from here, straight from the pages area. Also, on the left under pages here, you have header navigation and footer navigation. So this is going to be how you control the navigation layout on the site. So over to the right, you'll see a preview of our header navigation, our top level navigation on the website itself. And then here on the left, you have a visual representation of that in a kind of layout. So you have the home, products. All of my collection pages are always going to appear under products. Always. So I can change how these other pages appear. So as an example, if I wanted camping gear, my custom page, to be in a different spot in the navigation, I can do that. I can just hold my left click down over the kind of two horizontal lines here, and I can drag and drop. And you'll see that that reflects over on the right. But for product collection pages, they must be under products. So I can change how they're going to appear in the dropdown. I can put them in under one another as an example, as you just saw, but they all have to be under products. You can also make a page not visible in the navigation. So that's different than deactivating it. It's still active, it's still there. You just can't see it in the navigation. So as an example, if I didn't want my one or two of my product collections to actually be accessible via this navigation, I only want you to be able to get to them through the links that I had set up on those buttons. I can just turn this eye icon off, and it'll be an eye with a strike through, and now it's no longer visible on the navigation. And I can do that for these navigation items on the top level too. I could say I don't want to have my, let's say, my contact page visible in the main navigation. I want them to find it via links that I've put on other pages. As long as I click this eye icon and it has this strike through, it is no longer visible on the navigation. And you'll see that in the preview right away. Page is still there, it's still active. And if you have anything that links to it, they'll get there. But they can't get there via the navigation anymore. You also have a footer navigation. One thing I ask people to remember is that these do not mirror one another automatically. So if you make changes to the header, like we just did, it's not going to automatically update in the footer. You will have to update the footer manually to make it match the header if that's what you want. So for me, I like the footer of the website to be very, very clean, very minimalist. So I'm just going to have home and about us. I'd usually have contact on there too, but I have contact turned off for my example on the header, and I want it to match, so I'm going to turn it off down here. So once again, all these pages still active. You just can't get to them via the footer or header navigation. And if you noticed, rather than going through every single one of my product collections and turning them off, I just turned off products at the top level. And since these are all pages in a drop-down under products, by turning off the top level item, I've made everything else underneath it invisible. So I did that on purpose, but you could do that by accident. Just something to consider, that if you have pages that are under another page, if you turn off that top level page, visibility wise, it's going to turn off everything underneath it. Can't have these drop down items appear if the top level item isn't there. Okay, so now we've created our custom page. We've looked at how to create custom product collection pages. We've looked at the header and footer navigation. The next area that I want to move on to here is products. So let's click on the products tab. So the first thing you'll see under products is supplier management. So you'll see this control supplier products option. So this is going to determine whether you want to show all products from our entire inventory, or you only want to show products from something called a preferred supplier list. So a preferred supplier list is something that you can set up under your account settings. If we click on account up here, we have preferred supplier lists. In this area, you can create lists of specific suppliers. So these may be suppliers that you work with all the time, or that you have a special business relationship with, or you know that they create products that are very geared towards whatever this website is about. So you can create one of these preferred supplier lists, and then I'm going to click on websites again because we went to the settings. I'm going to go to products. So if we have a preferred supplier list that we created already, we could say, I only want this website to show products based on that list. It's not going to show everything, just the suppliers I want it to. Or we can just leave it how it is, and it's going to show products from the entire inventory of ESP. Beneath that, we also have the exclusion filters. So with this, we can choose to exclude certain suppliers, as an example. The way this works is you can scroll through this enormous list, which is pretty tedious, or if you know the suppliers you want to exclude, you can type in their ASI number or their supplier name. You'll find them and you'll add them to this list. You can eliminate up to 25 suppliers from the website. You also have supplier rating. So this means if I want to, I could say I only want this website to show products from suppliers that have a 3-star and up rating, or 4 or 5, etc. This is sometimes more limiting than people think. I always give everyone that heads up that it sounds really good to say I only show 5-star suppliers, but even the best suppliers rarely have a perfect 5-star rating. In fact, suppliers that get a lot of reviews may even drop into like the high 3s at times. So just be careful with this, because it's obviously going to set a rule on the website, and you may lose suppliers you didn't intend to. Or you can just say all ratings, and it doesn't matter. It'll show everyone. Also, one other thing to consider here, if a supplier is brand new and they haven't been rated yet at all, so not good or bad, if you chose any of these kind of rating requirements, those would also not show up. So, but if you wanted to set it, you can set it that way, and that's where you do it. You also have a link to managing your preferred supplier list down here at the bottom of the page. So I went by clicking on my account icon and then selecting it from there, but if you want, you can also get there straight from here at the bottom of this supplier management page. Next, on the left, under the products menu, you have global product configuration. So this is going to control how products appear on your website. And you have a live preview over on the right here. So each one of these toggles is going to control some point of data for the product. So the colors that it's available in, the sizes, what materials, the shapes, the imprints, the pricing. You can turn these on or off. So if you don't feel that it's relevant that you have all of this information here, you feel it's too much or it's looking too busy, you can turn some of these data points off. So that's up to you. If we start turning them off as an example, you'll see them disappear from the preview along the right-hand side. You can also include instructions. So these would appear on the products themselves if you have specific instructions for purchase or setup, and we'll get to purchase in just a moment, but you could have that here. And then you have your default sort option. So do I want products to appear based on what the person searched for, or what's closest to their search? Or do I want them to appear lowest price to highest price, or highest to lowest? And we can set that here as well. And then final area under products is global product filters. So before, under the supplier management area, we saw that we can exclude certain suppliers. So we can say, I don't want these suppliers' products to appear on the site. This is the same concept, but instead it is categories of products. So we could search through different product categories, or we could add them manually. So I don't want adult novelties. I don't want aprons. I don't want apothecary jars. Um, and you could add these by manually searching for them as well. And it'll just exclude any product that's tagged as being part of that category. And just like with the suppliers, you can have up to 25 different products categories excluded on the website. And then the final tab that we haven't looked at so far is the order management tab. So if we click on this, it's going to take us first to the payment management selection. So right now, and by default, every new website is going to be set up to accept quotes. And what that means is if I'm browsing your website as a customer and I like an item, I'm going to be able to send an email to you that essentially says, hey, I liked this item. Tell me how much it costs. Tell me more about it. But I can also set up these websites to have the customer be able to pay directly through the website. So actually order the item. If we want to do it that way, we can click on this button here that says accept orders, but we will need to set up a payment method. So what that means is that ESP works, or ESP Plus works with payment providers to actually process that payment. These companies actually take the credit card information and handle all of the financial transactions. We don't actually do that on ESP Plus, but we can link to these payment processors to have that be linked to the website. And for the customer, it's a very seamless experience. So we do need to set it up though. If we hit on manage payment methods, it's going to take us away from the website. This area that we're in now is actually under your settings and then under the integrations admin and payment provider. So you can get there that way as well. But you'll see that we work with 4 different payment processors. So we work with Promo Payment, Stripe, PayPal, and Authorize.net. You could have all of these and have just one of them set as your primary, or you could just have one. Each of them are a little different in terms of how they work, what their policies are. You would have to investigate each of them and find which one is going to be the best fit for you. But once you have an account with one of these 4 payment processors, you would be able to add it as part of your payment integration. So if I click on Connect Account with Authorize.net as an example, I would enter a transaction key that they had given me, a client key, and an API login ID, and I would hit save, and now I would be able to accept payments through Authorize.net. So this is set on the account level. It does require membership with one of these 4 processors. So if we want to get back to the website, I'm going to click on websites again, and then my website, and yours won't look as crazy because you'll just have your website. And then go back to order management. So as long as we have one of those payment processors set up and we have this accept orders option turned on, people will be able to actually pay for items straight from the website. And then we have sales tax under this payment management section. So we can decide whether or not we're going to include sales tax in the final total. So right now it's set to do not, but I could change that. I could say include sales tax in the total. And then also on the left here, we have shipping. So we don't have a direct tie-in to shipping vendors, but we can use these settings to offset any potential shipping charges. So we can have it left as ship orders for free. So that's what it's set to standard. But we can also choose to charge a percentage-based fee. So this would mean that anytime someone orders something from the website, a percentage of that total order is going to be charged in addition to cover the shipping cost. and we can set what the minimum and maximum on that is and what percentage it's going to be. So as an example, it can't be less than $5 because the shipping's not ever going to be less than $5, but it can't be more than 100 because it's not ever going to be more than 100 based on what we're selling. And anywhere in between there, based on their total, it's going to be some percentage of the total. But we could also charge a flat rate if that's more straightforward. So if you know that you sell a lot of the same type of items, this is your typical shipping cost, or whatever you've structured into your accounting as what's necessary to cover shipping, you can just add a fixed rate here. So ship to free, charge a percentage, or charge a fixed rate. So now if we go back to the overview page, because we've made it all the way through our different tabs here, we'll see our overview again. We can hit preview and look at a live preview of our site. So we'll see the logo, we'll see the updated navigation that we added, our color changes, our home page here with our new updated contact us. We can click on our custom camping gear page, scroll through this, click on our product collection pages and go there. Click on our different kids gear page. Just make sure everything looks how we want it to look. And if everything looks good in this preview, we can go ahead and hit publish site. We'll get that little confetti explosion, and now the site has been published. And now we will have on the overview page a launch date, so it'll tell us exactly when the site went live. If we ever needed to change something in the future, so we wanted to add more pages or edit a page, anything like that, it's the exact same process. We would come in, click on websites, go to our website, come into this admin area, and use the tools that we reviewed today, and then when our changes were done, we would hit publish website to make them live. All right. Well, if you wind up thinking of additional questions, feel free to send them to 800-546-1350, option 2. We're also here at support@asicentral.com. And if you click on this knowledge icon, this question mark icon, and click on the knowledge base, you will find more articles and training links. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of your day.